Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I am Aztec, joined once again by my good buddy and totally not a console peasant, Tony.
Hi, what's up, guys? He's let me out.
Well, and today I thought we'd talk about something that, now to me it's a little bit of interesting news. I mean, it's probably not the biggest, most exciting news, but Nintendo has announced another iteration of their 3DS hardware, or more like, well, 2DS, since it doesn't actually do 3D. And I know you've got some strong feelings towards Nintendo, you just can't let that Metroid thing go.
The pH balance is real fucking high with me on Nintendo.
Now, I kind of like this. I'm kind of excited for this, and the main reason being, I'm one of those people who didn't really care much for the last three iterations of the 3DS hardware. Main issues I had with the original 3DS, it was too small for my giant bony Neanderthal hands. Controlling 3D games was kind of difficult because you didn't have an actual C-stick. You either had to control it with face buttons or like the bumpers. And to me, that's never been very intuitive.
Yeah, Monster Hunter was a real bitch on that thing.
Yes, it was. I played the demo. It was horrible. And then there's also the fact that I just didn't like the 3D. I felt like I was being charged for a feature that I would never use.
That's probably fair to say for a lot of customers of that product.
So, I mean, the only reason I actually own a 3DS is because I got one for free from a friend. And if it hadn't been for that, I never would have bought this thing. So, then we end up with the 3DS XL. It's like, well, hooray! It can actually fit in my hands comfortably now.
Buttons still suck, though. Buttons are still tiny as shit.
The buttons suck, and also the lack of a certain button to help control the camera was very noticeable. But, and again, we still had the 3D, which I never used. So then we get the new 3DS XL. We finally added that little nub so you can control the camera. Sweet! Still 3D, right? Yep. Okay, nope, not going to buy it. I didn't buy that one because it was a little too expensive when it first came out.
What was the price when that thing came out?
I'm pretty sure it was about $200 when it was brand new.
Okay, so about $75 more than what the baseline model was. Although to call it the baseline model was really a fucking lie because, well, the stuff inside the new 3D, God damn it, the fucking numbers and
the naming scheme of these things is awful. You have 3DS, 3DS XL, new 3DS XL, and there's also a 2DS. Which, can we talk about that for a second? What were they thinking with the 2DS?
Oh, I can answer that real easy. One, it was a real cheaper alternative, and two, they had huge backlash because let's face it, Nintendo. It's for the kids, motherfuckers, and it has been right up until about 6 months ago.
I go with the term family-friendly, but that also kind of goes hand in hand with just, also being for kids.
The handhelds in particular were always for the kiddies. Like since the original Game Boy, you know what I mean? It's, yeah, they tried to have an adult thing, that's why you put Tetris with it, but, like, it was, we know, like, Kirby, motherfucker, the Game Boy gave us Kirby. It's for the kiddies. Nothing against Kirby. I love Kirby. But they had a huge problem when the 3DS first came out, and that was people discovered, if your kid's under age 5, this 3D is gonna fucking hurt their eyesight.
Actually, under age 7.
Oh, wow, even worse. Yeah. So, your prime demographic just gets shot out of the fucking water. And so that was their alternative, was make a cheaper, less damaging to the youth version, and in all honesty, I can see I say that's a smart conceit because that was we probably should have studied this a little harder. We fucked up. Here's a cheaper alternative if you want it for the kids.
Yeah. Now I get that aspect of what they were thinking. It's just like its actual design. It is one of the most unappealing pieces of gaming hardware I have ever seen.
Apparently the Japanese have alien hands, and, like, they invert the way the rest of the world doesn't. So they keep making the most uncomfortable, and iteration after iteration, more and more uncomfortable fucking devices to hold in your hands. And yeah, that 2DS thing is, one, it's ugly as sin. But, like, Yeah, man, that thing hurts the fucking hands. Then
It,
again,
it actually reminded
it's
me of
intended for
an
kids.
it reminded me of an Etch-a-Sketch when I first saw it.
But
It
that might
really
be by
did.
design,
Yeah,
though, because
yeah.
it is intended for kids, and like you can't hurt a kid's hands. Their nerves don't even exist in their hands yet, man. The dumb things kids do and feel no pain with, like they can play that thing for hours, it'll be fine. But
Now,
so I digress.
okay. Now let's talk about this new 2DS XL. It seems to finally, after all these years, be the complete package. No 3D. It's got the little nubby control stick for the camera. It's got
it's got the body of a 3DS.
Yeah, it's got the body of a 3DS XL. And it's got the guts of a new 3DS XL, which means faster processor, faster Wi-Fi, slightly better battery. It's the complete package. But now, while I may be excited for this, since I'm one of those people who, I'm kind of a penny pinching Scrooge McDuck when it comes to like console hardware, even handheld consoles. I'll just wait until I can get the best possible deal on these kinds of things. That's why I'm still making my decision on whether or not to buy a PS Vita. But anyway, I am a very small part of the market, and I know this. While I may really, really dig this thing, I don't think that many people are. And you also have to think, like, they just released the Switch, so while I appreciate Nintendo releasing the new 2DS XL, I'm kind of wondering why they even bothered.
May I go on a rant, Aztec?
Oh, yes, you may. We love rants.
Okay. So, yeah, the biggest problem isn't whether or not this 2DS XL is good as far as is the device good. I know it's good because the 3DS XL is good. It plays everything that's on the fucking system. Even those SNES emulators that they just can't seem to get working on the original 3DS. We can get Yoshi's Island for all you ambassadors, but an SNES fucking emulator just can't get it on that bad boy. Don't ask me how. But, the system is fine. But I have to beg the question to Nintendo, just what the fuck are you fucking thinking? Like, you just released the Switch 6 months ago from the time of this fucking recording, if that.
No, it's not been 6 months, dude. It's not been that long. It's only been, 2.
Even worse, is it really? Jesus Christ.
Yeah, it's only been 2 months since it came out.
But, and their biggest problem is production. And again, I mean, we've had this conversation off the air before.
We think they might be artificially inflating demand, but from everything that I've seen and people I've talked to who, work at places that sell these things, it seems like there is a lot of actual demand there. It's just a question of how much is Nintendo holding production back.
Yeah, here's the thing: if they're I'm positive that they're holding back production somewhat to generate hype. But the more and more times going by, and after what were you saying? 8 million worldwide projected for each.
That's what they projected whenever the system was first announced. I think the numbers you mentioned for the projection were much more recent.
Yeah, which was more somewhere between 5 or 6.
Which seems a lot more reasonable to me, especially considering they've only got the one big flagship title right now, and they're re-releasing Mario Kart 8, which I mean, I don't think that's going to sell a Switch. That's going to make some people with a Switch happy, but it's not going to sell any systems.
To be fair, I did not get that information from Nintendo. That is not a definite. That is not what their team is saying.
Same here. Yeah. That 8 million projection, I don't think was from Nintendo. I'm pretty sure that was from an analyst. What was it, Forbes or Business Insider or some shit like that.
But I mean, this now coupled with the NES Mini a year later, just about after the announcement of that thing, saying that they have shut down production on that, and surprise, it was a collector's item all along. Well, you sure as fuck didn't market it like that, Nintendo, so I'm willing to bet to say that that's not actually what your estimate was. And I don't think you're that naive to think that this thing wasn't going to be in high demand. I really think Nintendo has a massive problem on their hands about not being able to either afford or gain the fucking contracts with the companies that manufacture their hardware. And this is just screaming the latter more, that they just don't know what they're doing with it. It's like, why are you manufacturing a new design of a handheld when your flagship new console is also a fucking handheld? If, like, why would you do this? Wouldn't it be more prudent and more intelligent to stop production with this and pump that money and resources into producing more Switches and then porting the games from the old handheld to the Switch? Now, maybe they're sitting on warehouses and warehouses and warehouses of the guts and the shells of these fucking things, and it's cheaper just to make a run of that, and it wouldn't really cut into any other production.
Actually,
in the first place.
to me, that kind of makes the most sense, because I don't think the 2DS was exactly a runaway success. So maybe they do just have like a lot of, like, you know, spare bits and bobs of hardware to actually like manufacture these things.
But it still makes it look terrible for your company when you had two big things in demand. You're basically saying, we just don't have the means to produce, which is bullshit for that Nintendo Mini, by the way, because that thing's nothing but a Raspberry Pi in a little plastic shell.
Exactly. Oh, and they're going to do the same shit later this year with the SNES Mini.
And they won't call it a collector's. They'll do the same fucking thing, and then people will still be price gouging and killing each other before Christmas. And it's like, why are you even making products if you're going to basically make enough products for 1/10 of your fan base?
Well, I'd also have to. I have this like thought in my head. Like, keep in mind, this is me getting a little bit of tinfoil hat, but
okay.
This thought in my head is that like there's some marketing suit whispering in the ear of the higher ups at Nintendo, being like, "Online controversy gets our name out there, guys. It really does.
They don't need
just
their
gotta
name.
stir the pot."
I don't believe that. Nintendo doesn't need its name out there.
I think no. Their name is out there, but their name isn't relevant right now. And like stuff like the NES Mini makes them relevant in some context again, even if for the briefest of moments.
Not more so than if people could have gotten that product. Like, here's the thing: if they like whatever that ideal falls flat, at least the way I'm seeing it.
Well, hang on. I'm not saying that it's the right thing to do. What I'm saying is there's somebody who might think that's the right way to do it, and I can kind of see why they arrived at that conclusion. I just don't agree with it.
I mean, the way I see it is the reason the NES Mini is a collection thing is because they hired some sort of fucking Foxconn knockoff to make this many fucking units and whatever, because they made them out of Raspberry Pis. They literally made them out of Raspberry Pis and a fucking plastic cast. Like, what went into making that unit was pennies on the dollar. You know,
a Raspberry Pi costs you what, like $35 to put together? Like if you make one yourself?
If you make one yourself, if you're buying wholesale as a company, about a quarter of that, if even that. Maybe
and what were they selling these things for again? Like
$60.
$60.
Basically $2 a game, which people were more than happy to pay. Now, I personally think that's a bit pricey, but don't get me wrong. Like, the masses would have ate that up.
Depends on the games, honestly. It depends on the games.
Yeah, okay, fair point. There was about 15 in that 30 lineup that were worth playing in my eyes, but still, whatever. Not the point. The point is people would have bought them. I don't think they had the money or the resources to pump into it while doing their new fucking console that they just put out. They're having trouble producing that console in a way that even the Wii didn't have. You know what I mean? Now, a lot of people speculate that they're intentionally doing this because of the Wii U's overproduction, and I'm sure that that's got a sliver of truth in there, but the more this is coming out, and the more they sell out of these things and are still not able to keep up with demand, it seems less and less that they're going the iPhone route, and it's more to the point is maybe Nintendo isn't as financially sound as everybody expected them to be after the success of the Wii. Like, maybe that money is wearing fucking thin. Or maybe
the math. It's just that the math has already been done on that. Like, they basically had enough money to be running at like an operating loss of like $50+ million a year for the next 40 years as of 2014. So Nintendo's sitting on a giant pile of cash. I just feel like they're incompetent. Like, woefully incompetent.
So rough. That's so. I mean, I don't want to believe that, but I mean that is what we all want to believe.
I mean,
because
Tony, I didn't want to believe Microsoft's Xbox division was woefully incompetent, and then E3 2013 happened.
Oh boy, were those fucking pack of monkeys fucking spanked.
I mean, okay, think about it. Weren't you thinking the same thing? Like, these people can't be this stupid. Whenever you saw their E3 conference.
But to be fair, Microsoft has never been under the gun for underproducing.
This is true.
I mean, if anything,
a little bit
they're
different.
Too fucking confident. Yeah, they got the opposite problem, which I think would have been a healthy thing for Nintendo to have with these said products. Because let me tell you, a couple of NES minis sitting on the shelf would not have been a bad thing, because there's still chuckle fucks out there who would pick them up. More Switches on the shelves right now would be a hit. I mean, you're right where I fear that they're not able to see the difference between why the Wii U was not a success and why the Switch would be. But if this is their way of compensating, and there's nothing other than this is just their way of compensating, then you are leading way too high in the other direction, and that's gonna fucking hurt you too. Like back to the actual topic, there's no reason for a new 2DS XL. Are you going to keep making games for the 3DS? Like, is that your plan? Because I thought your plan was to make a handheld and a console the same thing. That way you don't split your in-house divisions. Isn't that what you've been saying for the past 2 years when you first teased the fucking Switch?
I mean, even whenever they kind of like quietly but not so quietly fused their console and handheld like divisions like under the same roof. Yeah. Like, even that was leaning towards that, but then we still got the 3DS family going. I know that whenever you end support for a console, it doesn't just, like, you know, like a light switch. It's just, okay, it's done. There's no more games for it. I know that, like, game releases are going to, like, taper off, you know, over the next, like, year and a half, 2 years, maybe. Like the next 10 plus, not 10 plus, like the next 6 plus years if you're the PS2. But anyway.
Yep.
But that's different. That's software releases. Of course, software releases are going to slowly taper off. Hardware revisions, though? That's insane when something's at the end of its life cycle, and you're going to do yet another hardware revision because reasons. And I'll be honest with you. I keep getting like flashes of Sega when I see new Nintendo news. Because you know one of the big downfalls of Sega, right? The fact that they
several downfalls.
Okay. Well, one of the big contributing factors was how they kind of spread themselves thin over different models of hardware all over the world. Like in some regions, they had the Master System still going. Some regions still had the support for the Mega Drive / Genesis, and some regions still had the Saturn going strong. Meanwhile, like the two big places where they should have been focusing all their efforts is where the Dreamcast was new. So they were trying to keep demand. Keep the supply and keep up with demand with the Dreamcast, while also manufacturing Genesis, Master System, Sega Saturn, 32X, Sega CD for all these other parts of the world. They had all these different generations, iterations of hardware out at the same time, and it was bleeding them dry financially. That's one big factor that brought Sega down. It's not the only factor. A lot of things brought Sega down, but that is one of them.
Yeah.
And this gives me a flash of what happened to Sega. It's nowhere near as bad. Don't misconstrue what I'm saying here. Like that's more towards the audience, not you, Tony.
Yeah, but that cockiness and that inability to look more than 2 years past your fucking game plan. And yeah, I hear what you're saying. And again, it's real fucking easy for me to play, you know, fucking armchair analyst right now with shit that's already happened, you know, and also absolutely nothing on the line for me. But at the same time, like you said, like, the 3DS has to be at the end of its life cycle, right? Or else it's going to kill the Switch, right? Like, there's no way you have two flagship handhelds, or else you're just poaching from yourself, right?
You would think so.
You would think so. Like, there's nothing on the 3DS, new or otherwise, you can't make run on the Switch.
I mean, okay. The there might be a few issues there. Like, it might not be as simple as we think to port a game over. Just saying.
I'm sure there's a handful of them that might not be that simple. But the big ones, the ones people give two fucks about, I'm sure 80 to 90% of them are easy because they're all in-house Nintendo-made games. And if they're the ones who have been sabotaging themselves, then this is not an answer, because you're still sabotaging yourself with this. I don't see how this is a good idea. Like, for both fans of the systems and for the business itself, I don't see how this is a good idea. Now, if it really costs these guys like 10 cents to make them because they're sitting on all this fucking hardware that they couldn't fucking move, I understand the liquidation. All right, I get it. Something tells me it's not that cheap. They made a new body for this shit. I mean, it looks a lot like
did they make a new body?
It looks a lot like the new 3DS XL. It's slightly different though. I'm looking at it. It's not quite the same shape.
Oh, isn't the sticks in a different location too, isn't it?
Yeah, like I said, no, I understand it's just the plastic coating. The real expensive shit's the inside and the screens.
Okay, so maybe they did make a new body for it, but it could just be like the guts of a new 3DS XL, just the 3D disabled.
I'm positive that's what this is. Like, I'm positive.
Because even though the new 3DS XL was well received by critics and journalists, media people who cover this kind of shit for a living. But I don't know that many people who actually bought one.
Yeah, because here's the thing. Nintendo, fuck you and your dumb games. Like, you did such a hard fucking push for the 3DS and the 3DS XL that everybody bought them then. People don't like buying the same fucking console every 2 fucking years. And no matter how much you want to be, you're not a phone. Like... That's an argument for another day, but like, phones are a necessity. They're a tool in this day and age. Games are still games. They're recreation. People are more comfortable spending money on a tool than they are recreation. Especially this much money when you're talking a couple hundred for this shit. And especially if you already own the fucking thing.
Yeah, basically the people that I knew had a 3DS, they were basically like, my 3DS still plays the games I want. So they just didn't care. Like, they had no real reason to upgrade.
That was me until Nintendo started its bullshit practices again, where it's like, all right, SNES games are coming up there. You need the new 3DS to play them. Why? Why? So that you can sell these fucking units? Like it's dumb bullshit practices like that makes me think that these things have reached their saturation point and nobody wants to buy them again. I don't see how this is going to help that market. You're afraid of flooding the market with the shit people want, and your answer to that is, let's flood the market with the thing we can't sell.
Oh, Nintendo never learns, and
that's my point.
I know. Just, I think we're getting a little bit long. We're dragging on a little bit long here with this one, Tony.
Okay.
So I think
I could go for hours yelling at Nintendo. I really could.
I think maybe we should wrap it up. I think my final thought is, I like this thing, but it still makes no fucking sense, Nintendo. What the hell are you thinking?
My final thought is, if you like Pokemon, which is the only fucking Pokemon and Fire Emblem, which is the only reason to ever buy a Nintendo handheld, you already have one.
Oh, bitch, I will fight you over that last statement. Anyway, I have been Aztec, joined once again by my argumentative console peasant subject, Tony.
Bye, guys. Apparently Aztec really likes Kirby.
Anyway, guys, we hope you enjoyed this little discussion we had. If you did, leave a like, favorite, and subscribe. And as always, have a good one.
Please understand, Nintendo is garbage. Goodbye.